Hi, my name is Murray Carter. I'm a 17th generation Yoshimoto bladesmith and a mastersmith of the American Bladesmith Society. In my 31-year career, I've hand forged and completed over 27,000 knives, and I've hand sharpened over 125,000 knives during that time.
That's a lot of knives. Hi folks, my name is Hap Stanley and I'm the founder of Nano Hone. I'm a stone maker and it's pretty exciting to be here with Murray today. We have a lot in common. We both lived in Japan for many years. Together I think we've got more than 30 years of experience in Japan. I studied lacquering, and in Japanese that's called urushi. And I've applied an awful lot of my learning about lacquering to my abrasives and my sharpening tools and polishing tools here that we're going to talk about. And the focus of this video from our point of view is going to be a sharpening method. It's the Carter-Stanley Method that we're going to introduce to you. And we're pretty excited about it. We agree on so many things, and we've really come to the same conclusions after many years of sharpening and working with lots of different abrasives. And that has really brought us together to give this method to you.
You know, between the two of us, Hap, we've got over 80 years of hand sharpening experience.
That's a lot.
And as you said, we've tried all the different things, and surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, we've come to almost all the same conclusions. And so we're going to, over these next few videos, we are going to condense and make concise a very easy method of sharpening that our viewers are going to be able to mimic and learn, and then eventually be empowered by the mastery of sharpening. For me, that's the most exciting part of what we're doing here today.
When I meet people that I've taught sharpening to after 10 or 15 years, and they come to me and they say, you got me inspired to do this. And when I hear those stories, I get so excited. And that really makes this whole thing worthwhile.
So Hap approached me at the recent Blade Show in Atlanta in June, and he wanted to know if I was familiar with his sharpening stone system. For years, I had been using a different system, and this product was really new to me. And upon close examination, I've really fallen in love with what Hap has done with this Nano Hone sharpening system. It is the best and most complete and comprehensive system I've ever seen. And using it for a few weeks was all it took to convince me that I wanted to fully and wholly adopt this system. It is really fantastic. It's rare that I get so excited about a product. There's a couple cars out there and a few watches and a few other things outside of my own knives that I make that really get me excited, and this definitely is really an amazing product.
It's a very high compliment. Thank you.
Look at this beautiful array. This is what really excites me. This beautiful array of sharpening stones and devices that you have created. I want to tell just the viewers right off the top what is impressed me the most.
Sure, please.
And then I want, then I want you, well, because I'm the layperson, I don't develop stones for a living. I use them. Been using them for 31 years and longer. But I want to share with people what aspects of these stones were striking for me. First of all, about these stones, these are actually the stones that we've been using for the past couple of days. So we haven't done anything special to present any kind of new unproven product to you guys. These are the stones we've been using to put razor sharp edges on knives in the shortest amount of time possible over the past couple of days. But what I especially love about the stones themselves is just how durable and how rock solid and how well thought out they are. And Hap will tell you a little bit more about the abrasive itself, but we have a laminate here. We've got the stone, which is going to actually do the grinding, and it has been attached to an aluminum plate backing. And the result of that is 2 or 3 advantages. First of all, the stone is practically indestructible. We've seen a lot of stones, they get dropped or bumped into something else hard, and they crack and they chip and they break. But with that aluminum backing, that's almost never going to happen anymore. Yeah. And something else we'll talk about in a later video is how you can actually reuse these plates and how you can incorporate existing stones that you already have into this system, which is another amazing attribute of this system. But it's, strong, durable, and it's used with these stages that HAP has designed. But the beautiful thing is that you can use that stone all the way until it's just a wafer thin, and it's supported by that aluminum backing, and everything is up and nice and high, and keeps your knuckles off of bumping against things. But this was just really the first feature that caught my eye, was just how strong and how smart of a system it was by using that aluminum backing plate. We want to take this opportunity to not only show you in great detail all about this product and how it's made and why it's superior to anything out there in the market, but we're also going to take some moments to demonstrate this product in use. And really we have this goal of inspiring you guys at home, our viewers, to get this system and to get busy sharpening and to be empowered by the simple and ancient technique of hand sharpening blades on stones.
Murray, you spent 18 years in Japan. What did you learn during that time?
Well, obviously I learned how to make knives.
Good.
But I also learned the best way to navigate around Japan is to always thank polite people in Japan.
Always thank polite people in Japan.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our acronym for the Carter-Stanley Method of Sharpening. ATPPJ. And that's what we want you guys to remember, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So Hap, what does ATPPJ stand for?
Well, it stands for assessment, thinning, profiling, polishing, and jointing.
Well, that's really exciting. My old sharpening technique involved 7 steps, and now we've been able to condense that down just to 5 steps. That's going to be a lot easier for our viewers to follow and do. Let's talk about the A, Hap.
Well, the A is assessment, and if you don't mind, I'm going to take one of your beautiful knives over here. You've done a great job on this. I just love holding it.
That's my perfect model kitchen knife.
Well, it feels perfect to me. I feel like cutting up some vegetables right now. So, assessment. I'm going to check to make sure it's clean. So you want to clean your knife. And then I'm going to sight right down the edge and make sure that the knife is straight, both the edge and the spine. And then I'm going to formulate a plan. So in my experience, most blades need thinning.
That's right. So we had A is assessment and T is thinning. And many blades, almost all blades, can benefit from a good thinning. And what I'm specifically talking about here, Hap, is a thinning of the secondary edge of the knife, which is basically the geometry behind the primary edge of the knife, which is what initiates the cut. So by taking my 2 fingers here and starting from the spine and sliding them slowly and carefully down towards the cutting primary edge, I can feel where the blade is thick and where it can benefit from a good grinding and thinning of the secondary edge.
Well, after we thin the secondary edge, we're going to profile the primary edge. Profiling includes the line of the edge and the geometry of the bevel on either side of the edge. So this is where we actually create the line we want and the burr that's going to be removed in each step of our sharpening process.
Yes. And that brings us to polishing. So the thinning of the secondary edge and the profiling of the primary edge leaves rough scratches because we want to accomplish that step in the quickest amount of time. So we're going to use the roughest abrasives that are appropriate for that grinding. And that leaves deep scratches, which we are going to want to polish out. So we have assessment, thinning, profiling, and polishing. Hap, why don't you tell us about what the J stands for?
Well, the J is one of my favorite parts of the process. I call it jointing the edge. And what I do is take the finest stone that we have and actually pull the knife over the surface of the stone vertically, as though we're going to cut the stone very lightly and remove any residual burr that might be left. Then, using a stropping stroke to fare into the edge, I finish up, and that's it.
So there you have it, ATPPJ. Always thank polite people in Japan. I want to introduce to our viewers at this time 3 techniques that we use throughout the Carter-Stanley Method. And we'll get into those in greater detail later, but for the sake of introduction, we have the application of the last molecule principle, the 3-finger test of edge sharpness, and the flattening and polishing of the sharpening stones themselves.
The last molecule principle says that we remove all the metal that is unnecessary down to the last molecule of necessary metal. And what that means is if the knife has a chip in it or a wave in it, we remove metal all the way along the edge to the bottom of the deepest chip or nick or wave, what have you, and we leave behind the last molecule of good material, and that becomes our new edge.
Fantastic. And the 3-finger test of edge sharpness is your most expedient way. It's like a barometer of your progress in sharpening when you get to the profiling and you're trying to establish a new primary edge. And you take the thumb of your support hand and put it on the spine of the knife, and you put out your first 3 fingers. You put them on the edge of the blade, and you attempt to move your fingers laterally, not sideways like this. And if the blade is razor sharp, you'll read that feedback and your brain will tell you to stop and you won't cut yourself. On the other hand, if you have a knife that is fairly dull, you'll be able to apply more and more pressure, even to the point of making your fingers white, and that indicates that you've still got a ways to go to sharpen. Hap, why don't you tell us about how to polish and flatten the sharpening stones with the diamond lapping plates?
Well, it's really important to keep your stones flat and clean. Flat ensures that you get good geometry along the edge. A dished out stone will round over your edges. And it's real important to clean the metal out of your stone regularly, because if stone's working, it's cutting a lot of metal. And it brings the surface of the stone up to its maximum potential.
And those are the 3 techniques that we're going to use over and over again in this video.